Welcome back to All Time Glow. I'm Allison.
And I'm Robin.
And we're your hosts.
And today we're speaking with fellow stylist Breana.
This day and age, there's a huge push to be your own boss. So we're going to get Breana's insight on what that could actually really mean.
She's worked in several different environments, and we can't wait to hear what she has to say.
So I've actually known Breana for a long time. Breana and I have known each other since we were in 6th grade, I believe, right? 6th grade. And we now are in the same business. So what's really interesting is that now we are able to come back together later in life. We are in our 30s now, and we're gonna we share a lot of experience in the beauty business. So we're excited to chat. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome.
Hi guys, I'm Breana. I've actually been doing hair. Let's see here. So I started when I was a junior in high school. I went through the whole, what is it? Not like a co-op, but it's, oh my God.
Votech, right?
Votech, yes. I did it through Votech. I didn't get licensed, but that's where I started. Then I took a different route for like 4 or 5 years. And then in 2010, I decided I was going to go back and get my license. I went to Paul Mitchell School in Sterling Heights. Which now there's one in Farmington Hills, so that's great. Because I used to drive a whole hour to beauty school when I get off work. I went part-time, took me 2 years to get my license, but I did it.
So between your Votech beauty school training and your Paul Mitchell training, there was about 4 years?
Yeah, so so 2006, about 4 years, 2010. Total different worlds, okay? Votech wanted you to just learn and get your license and know what state board wanted, and that was it. Paul Mitchell, I met so many amazing people. They flew me all over the US. I was in all kinds of hair shows. It was amazing. It was the best experience. It was worth every penny. I would do it again tomorrow. So there is a difference between paying, $5 grand to go to cosmetology school and 20 grand to go to cosmetology school. The experience alone is worth every penny. Granted, I'm still paying off those student loans, but it's well worth it in the long run. I tell everybody, try to go, a little bit of a more higher end route. You're going to get more out of it.
Definitely.
I never thought about that.
And being that you put yourself through beauty school, you probably appreciate it so much more. Like
I did. I was older. I had a different mentality from 18 to, 24, 25. It was different. I don't want to say it was better, but it was different. I was more focused when I was there. I went nights. I had to drive myself. I had to make that commitment. So it was a tough, situation, but it worked out. Loved every minute of it. I highly suggest it. Then I started at just your normal mom and pop salon right out of cosmetology school.
Like a small business.
Very small business. But it was very old school ran. The girls still smoked in the salon.
Oh my gosh, what?
How many stylists worked there at the time?
There was probably about 5 of us. It was very small. It was nice in the sense I was able to make my own hours and come and go as I pleased, because smoking in the salon, as you can see, they really didn't care. They didn't care about, continuing education. They didn't care about, the health of our guests. I don't know. They were good stylists. They just, they were older and they were kind of done, and they just were there to make money, and that was it. And I still was wanting to learn. So I got pregnant with my daughter. And when I got pregnant with my daughter, shortly after, I decided to leave. I took some time to reflect.
How long were you at that salon?
I was at that salon for it was almost 2 years. And it was, like I said, it was an experience. I didn't realize that this isn't the normal either, because it was brand new to me.
Yeah.
But then talking to other stylists and, meeting other stylists, and it wasn't the norm. So I was like, okay, I need to leave there. And I'm not going to salon bash. I'm not even going to say where I worked or whatever, anything like that. But it just wasn't for me. So then after I had my daughter and I decided to go back to work, I looked into the suites. I was, like some people, was doing some hair outside of in my home, which is a no-no and you shouldn't do it. But I was in a situation with my daughter and her father where I needed to make some extra money to get out of that situation.
We had the hookup in my mom's basement. Don't you remember?
God, loved every minute of it. So, I felt like I needed to just get, make some extra money to get out of that situation specifically. And once I realized, oh, maybe I can do this on my own, I looked into the suites. Well, it was extremely expensive. So I decided that I kind of wanted the flexibility still, which the suite gives you. And I wanted to be my own boss, because everybody just wants to be their own boss and they don't really think what goes into that. And I'm not a numbers person. I didn't go to school for math. Luckily I have a boyfriend in my life now that's a budget master. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have my own personal finances in order. So I teamed up with another stylist and we decided we were going to go into the suite together. And since we were both part-time, we decided we were going to share, which was different for this suite specifically. They weren't really willing at the time to just share one chair in a suite, which I kind of see. They wanted you to pay extra to have 2 chairs in the suite. I get their business plan. Well, we decided, we're just probably not going to go with them then if they don't want to agree to it. And so we talked a little bit with the owner of the suites and he said, sure, why don't I'll draft up a specific contract for you guys. Still, let me remind you, it was $500 a week for just the 2 of us. And I mean, you can think like, oh, we're going to split that. It's going to be $250 a person. That's chump change, right? $250. I can make that.
That's one highlight.
Right. So, but you're not factoring in at the time. I'm just seeing all this freedom. I'm not seeing how much my overhead's going to be, right? I'm not noticing that. I'm looking at the aspect from, I'm coming off of doing it in my own house. Might as well have this own space. I don't have to be in my home. I don't have to have my kids here. It's going to be better. I'm going to be able to focus. Well, I didn't realize how much product is, because I wasn't used to that. When I worked at the salon, I was commission based. They purchased all that stuff. They purchased all of the supplies. Yeah, I had a slight idea from working at home, but it was nothing compared to this. I was literally running to the beauty supply every day. It just became way too much. Then it became a situation also sometimes where I would want to come in and do a client, and the other stylist I was working with would want to come in and do her client. And there was a few times there was 4 or 5 of us in this, like, literally this tiny, like 5 by 6, it's so tiny, little suite. And I'm like, I have to get out of this situation.
Were you guys selling retail there as well?
We were trying to, but I don't know if it's because I was so focused on getting rid of the supply of product that I had. I wasn't focusing so much on retail. I was trying so hard to get clients in so that I wasn't wasting all this color, that I wasn't able to focus on the retail aspect. And that's a huge moneymaker in the industry. Selling retail is a huge part of the business. In fact, it's keeping salons afloat right now with everything going on.
It is.
Exactly.
That's we're surviving right now. We're selling retail off the curb.
And I also found myself giving things away because I wanted them to take care of their hair. Yeah. So if I noticed that they weren't, I was like, oh, here, take this, use this. Here's this treatment, use this, because I would rather them have nice hair, and take care of it than not. And I noticed myself doing that because I felt it was my business. Why not?
Yeah. And we are givers. Hairstylists are givers. We want everyone to feel better and we want everyone to save money. And we sometimes forget that, like, at the end of the day, nobody got into, well, unfortunately, some people did get into doing hair just for the fun of it. But, like, at the end of the day, it's not about money, but it's about money.
Yeah. And I noticed that because I also feel like people thought, well, this is your business. This is your suite. Why can't you just give me that? Why can't this be? It was just such a wake-up call.
It all goes into being into the finances. So if you are very artistic and you can fulfill that part of the job, but now you've got to fulfill this financial part too, and you don't have, you just don't have the knowledge to really.
I literally wrote that down. I said, I have a artistic brain. I do not have, a numbers brain. I just don't think that way, you know, and I think with my heart most of the time than I think with my head too. And when it's your business, you can't think that way. You have to think, how am I going to profit? And you can't also worry about hurting people's feelings. And that's what I have a hard time with. I'd rather leave it to somebody, my boss, being able to do the hard stuff where, financially, whereas I'm just like, oh, sorry, it's the rules.
Yep. We tell people that all the time. Our stylists, if they have a problem, like someone's wondering why something is that price or why they can't just come in early to do their hair or do their hair at 10 p.m. Like, sorry, it's just it's the rules. I don't want to get in trouble. Like
That's the other thing. At the salon that I'm at now, we're out of there by 9 together. Like, that's the rule. Sometimes I was at the suite till almost midnight because I didn't have that. I'm a yes person. I don't say no to my clients. Unfortunately, I'm bad at that. So if I can blame it on my boss, like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't take you at that time. We're at those aren't our hours. I'm able to do that at the salon. Whereas at the suite, they're like, the suites are open 24 hours. If you wanted to come in and do hair at 3 a.m., you're able to do that. Which, yeah, it can sound nice, but when you're not setting boundaries for yourself.
No.
I wasn't seeing my kids. I was already at my 9 to 5, and then I was going to the salon twice as much as I was even doing it at home because I had that ability to do that, and I wasn't saying no to myself because it's important to have that time for yourself and for your children and for your family.
You have to draw the line and have boundaries, or no one will respect not even your business. They won't respect you personally. That's in like every area of life, but especially in doing hair.
I think too, people mistake structure sometimes for restrictions. Like,
yes.
It's nice, like you said, that I have to be out by this time. So it allows you to structure your schedule and just know that, oh, I'll be home at this time. Because when you work till 9, a lot of times you're not home till 9:30 sometimes, and that's late enough.
Exactly.
I can remember at the salon before we changed our business plan, like when it was just Robin, me, my mom, a couple chair runners, we were just coming and doing hair. Not a lot of restrictions, not a lot of rules. We had our hours, but they were flexible.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember getting out at 11:30 at night, and I was at that time working with my first associate or assistant. And I remember she wasn't very surprised because she came from a salon that was open until midnight in Ann Arbor. So like, it was that vibe, that college vibe. Mm-hmm. So she was like, so not surprised that we were finishing a highlight at 11:30. But for me, I'm like, this is crazy. I have to be back in the morning. It's just too much. But when we changed our business plan shortly after, so she moved through that with us. We laugh so hard now. Like, remember that one time we got on the highlight at 11:30 and now we're like, sorry, 9 o'clock, we're done.
Yeah.
The salon's closed.
Exactly. And I agree with the statement, Robin, that confusing structure, you need it. I need it to be able to function as a stylist. I'm much better at being told what to do. It's just how I run or I work. And it took the studio for me to really realize that I'm a much better employee than I am an employer. And that's okay to admit sometimes too. Definitely. I know so many stylists that are earning or urging to own their own business. And it's like, not for everyone. It's tough. And you can make 6 figures being a stylist. And so it's hard to make 6 figures as an owner right off the bat.
But no one sees that. They see that they can be their own boss and they can keep everything that they make. They don't see, like you said, the overhead or they're running to the supplier before their first client.
I think too, there's a big push with social media to be your own boss and don't live for someone else's dream. I think there's just a big misconception where I feel like we work to help other people with their dreams. Like, I love seeing our employees succeed.
Don't get me wrong. If you're completely 110% focused on this, you can make a business for yourself in the suite. I don't want to completely bash it because I do know a few people that definitely have made quite an amazing living out of the suite. However, for the average stylist coming out of beauty school or, just started at the salon a few years ago, do I think that it's a smart move? Not necessarily. You're just not. I mean, some of the women that I know that are actually in the suites that are functioning, that they have been doing it for 10, 15 years. They have a solid clientele behind them. I'm talking like, every 4 weeks, root touch-ups, like on point. And if you don't have that, I don't see how you're going to be able to function. And function well. Like, yeah, you might be able to stay afloat, but to make a profit, it's hard, and it's not impossible. And I definitely see it work, but just really do your research. Really do your research.
Robin and I always say, there is a suite stylist and there is a salon stylist. And I want to say either is right or wrong, but like you said, you really need to know what you're getting into. And I think that's really important for beauty school students to hear. Yeah. And also stylists who have been in the business for a couple of years, who are so tempted by the posts that they're seeing on Instagram that are telling them, be your own boss, stop building someone else's dream. We have to kind of giggle at those, because we're like, if anything, we're living someone else's dream, because we, as a salon owner, you pour so much of what you have into your team. If you're a good owner,
right.
Which I think we are, but you pour so much of what you have into them, almost kind of like we're the one building your dream. But like, I see where their marketing could really make somebody want to be their own boss, because they are stop living someone else's dream. Come build your own business. Come be your own boss. Have flexibility. But it's so hard to wrap your head around what all that could mean.
There's little things that also people don't take into consideration until you're actually physically there. For example, don't get me wrong. I know, weed's legal in Michigan. People can do whatever they want, but there was people smoking in their suites freely. And it's all vented. Everybody can smell what everybody's doing. Yeah, they say they have state-of-the-art ventilation so that, perms and stuff, you can't smell it as much. But that's a load of crap. I mean, the one I was in, you can clearly smell everything that's going on in there, from who's cooking food to who's smoking next to you. And it's fine. Like I said, do what you want to do. But when I have, a respected 50-year-old woman in my seat, she was pissed that she could smell that. And whether or not she agreed or not to what was going on, I've never seen her again. She was a new client. Yep. Then you had, like, I love kids. I'm a mom, don't get me wrong, but sometimes, when you're in there and you're going to be there for 3 or 4 hours, your kid shouldn't be in the salon with you. Like,
yeah.
And then the worst part is the only other place for the kids are in the hallway. So then you have kids running the hallways, which is so distracting when you're trying to work on a client. So whether it was my clients' kids or other people's clients' kids, just running, racing. And I mean, I know these are situations that can happen in a salon as well as a suite, but it's not just you, it's 30 other people, sometimes 60 if these salon suites have double chairs, and then their clients. So if you're thinking you're going into a smaller atmosphere and you're not going to be, you're not going to have to deal with any of the other stylist issues, you're wrong. It's pretty much a similar environment to a salon, sometimes double the amount of people.
This has been a topic that we've wanted to do for a while. And before we even started the podcast, like we're like, we need to like write a blog about this or something, because we visit the beauty schools, we recruit right out of them. And we get asked a lot of questions about, suites and salons and stuff like that. And so we have been thinking about, the difference, and then like how salons need to change the way that they run to almost like compete with the way the suite is ran, if it makes sense.
Yes.
We brainstormed this a lot, and those are things we didn't even think of. Like, I didn't even think about if you could smell the people's perm down the hall or their kids running around, like the same things that you run into in the salon. I didn't even think of those.
It's definitely for a certain person. Like you said, there's salon stylists and there's suite stylists, and definitely I don't recommend it for people fresh out of beauty school. It's just, I just don't know. I'm sure there's ways you can build your clientele being in this suite, but there's no foot traffic walking by. Unless you're doing your own social media advertising, they're not advertising for you. They're not helping you with, your marketing, your social media. I mean, they give you apps, but let's be serious. Like, unless you utilize those apps, they're not going to work for you. It's not like they're going to do the work for you.
Exactly.
Whereas I know a lot of salon owners and other stylists help each other in that field. And I love that aspect. I love that my boss sends me things. Hey, we're doing this promotion. Hey, we're doing, send out this to your clients. It keeps me on track to make sure that I'm doing everything that I need to do for my clients and to keep them, happy.
I think you're a team player.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're a team player. You're someone who wants, like us, to be a part of their power in numbers. And so like, we want to be a part of a team where we can amp each other up. If I'm feeling less motivated, but my teammates are feeling more motivated, we can help each other. And then there are times where I'm super motivated, but I can tell they're not. And so I can help rub my motivation off on them. Or even just as much as having trouble with a client, to have that support where you can go to your boss or even another stylist and say, hey, like, I have this issue. What do I do? What can I do? What kind of support can I have for this person? Because in a suite, you're on your own.
And that's huge. I fully support, having that go-to system, whether it's your boss or it's a fellow coworker. I need that. I need that to function and, be successful on my own. You're right with the power in numbers. I fully agree with that. And I mean, maybe it took my experience to realize that, but maybe if I really talked to a few people who had been through the same situation that I had prior to, I would have made a different choice back then. Do I regret it? No, it was fun. It was, I had an experience. I did it with one of my really good friends and, fellow hairstylist. So it was a good time, but I didn't make any money. In fact, I lost money. My boyfriend still says I told you so. As being a numbers man, I don't know how many times he tried to talk me out of it. But if your significant other can't talk you out of something, usually you just need to find it out for yourself.
So how long were you at the suite for?
So we had a year contract. However, it was a month by month year contract. If you left after, I think it was 90 days, you were able to just leave free willingly, which I still feel that somebody's gonna come back one day, because I left after 8 months. And as much as I didn't feel right leaving in the middle of a contract like that, as I explained, there was a lot of issues.
Did your suite stay longer, or did she also stop?
She continued the rest of the year.
Okay.
And then actually she's with me at the salon now. So
how long in between the suite to your new salon, and how did you decide to go to a salon, and how did you pick the salon you went to?
I left the suite at April and I started at Lux in May. So right off the bat, I knew I wanted to go to a salon. So as soon as I knew I wanted to leave the studio, I got my portfolio together and I immediately reached out to somebody who had a huge social media following within the area. And I was like, where's your salon at? I need to be there. And her name was Jill. And I was like, are you the manager? And she's like, well, I am. And I'm like, so who do I need to contact? So she gave me our boss and owner's name, Christina. And I messaged her, and I don't even know if they were hiring at the time, but I was like, I need to work there. So I contacted her and she had me come in for an interview. And since I was only going to be part-time a couple of days a week, it worked perfectly. I was able to come in on a couple nights with a few other girls, and that's where I've been ever since. I'm there Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays. And I love everything about it.
Did you feel you were starting over going to a salon, or were you able to take your clients with you?
I was able to take everybody that wanted to follow. I only went from one city over, so it wasn't too much of a drive. I made sure that it was going to be, reasonable for my clients. But reasonable for me driving is sometimes different from people. I don't mind driving a half hour, 45 minutes from point A to point B, but everybody followed me, and I've actually built my clientele even more working there.
Power in numbers.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I feel it's also, we're not catty. We're all, a little bit older. So I think we all have, our own lives outside of the salon to focus on. And there's no drama, which I like too. I'm not about the drama. It's just silly. It's commission based. So I'm making more money doing that than I was being my own boss. And I'll tell anybody, I tell so many people the story because I literally I didn't even make enough money to file taxes when I was in the suite. I took all my information to my tax lady, and she's like, no, she's like, this is you. I'm not even going to use any of this. You didn't even make enough money for anything.
Wow. It's so like, I think it's going to be so eye-opening for a lot of people because, same situation, like Robin and I started Salon Bellevue because we didn't want a catty salon, right? So we were like, Mom, like, please open a business for us. We want to work in a salon, but we don't want to work with like these other catty people. So he did. And we like just, did hair for a little bit for, 8 years or so. Was it about 8 years before we decided to change our business plan and start bringing stylists in? And it was like, we were so protective of who we brought in because we're like, okay, we want to grow, but we don't want to be catty. And I'm sure your owner probably went through the same thing. Like every time she brings someone on, it's kind of like, I hope they're gonna be nice. I hope they're gonna be cool. Like I hope they're gonna be a team player. I hope they're gonna be, respectful and be a good fit and not be kind of like you have to worry every time you hire somebody, are they going to be a cancer in my salon? We were able to build a large employee base of a really cool group of girls who all get along really well. And we've been doing that for about 5 years now. And we're getting to the point where our stylists are being targeted by these suites. And maybe they're not even being targeted, but they're being tempted. And they're being, you're seeing them pop up all over town, and you're seeing their social media posts, and they're actually DMing our stylist saying like, come on, come be your own boss. Like, come build your own business. And
I think it's extremely strange to me that they're poaching, basically. I guess I don't, first of all, you two should take it as a huge compliment that you even have stylists that feel that they even have enough of a clientele to even go out on their own.
that is what a lot of
kudos, honestly, kudos to both of you guys, because, for them to have that confidence that they feel is huge. Because I can tell you right off the bat, that's why I shared a suite. I didn't think I had enough clientele to stay afloat all by myself. So if these girls are leaving and they're doing that, good job. You guys did what you were supposed to do. You got them to where they're at.
That is exactly what a couple of people have said. And that is such a compliment and such it is exactly kind of what we need to hear sometimes. Like, it isn't about losing people because they're not happy. It's losing people because they felt so successful that they could do it because we've made them feel that good,
Exactly. It's a tough situation, especially if they leave you high and dry and there's it's a blow in your face. That to me is sad, and that needs to be addressed. But if it's a situation where they feel confident enough and that's why they left, then they're going to have to learn on their own. They're going to have to see.
Yeah, that's such a good point to make, because we've had people stop working with us because they had babies or just all different
to do hair
situations. Yeah. And we always are like, oh my gosh, if anything happens, you're welcome back. We can adjust your hours. We're not like holding people hostage. If they want to try something else out, that's amazing.
I've always hated how salons can be catty towards other salons. That's like so easy to me.
I know.
I mean, if I can't do a wedding, Salon Bellevue is my next choice to send girls. Like
that's exactly
all the time.
Robin owns a makeup studio down the street, and she gets her hair done at our salon. And if she can't do makeup for something because she's booked, she'll send them to us, and vice versa.
Yeah,
it's just absolutely. I am a firm believer that you support your fellow coworkers and your people in the industry. I mean, we all got here to starting the same way. We all started in cosmetology school together. I don't even, and here's the thing, like, people get so mad when their clients leave and go other places. Why? Like, why?
Around, honey. There's enough.
There's so many people in the world. Like, just obviously it just wasn't working out. You move on from that, and you figure out if it's you figure out if it's your situation. If it's not you, and it's just the simple fact that person wants a new change, then that's fine. Like,
what advice do you have for the cosmetology student who's trying to decide what type of salon she wants to go to or he wants to go to, And then what type of advice do you have for the stylist who is like maybe 3 to 5 years into their career and being tempted by a suite?
So as far as coming out of cosmetology school, I still think you need to learn as much as possible. So either you get on an assistant or an associate type of program with a, definitely a qualified stylist in a well-to-do salon that's going to work for you. You need to figure out what works best for you and your learning style and also, are you wanting to do, more walk-ins? Do you have a small clientele from cosmetology school? I know I had a small, because I was on the floor 3 months after, I was doing hair. I had a small group of people that I was doing regularly that I was able to bring with me to the smoking salon. So I highly suggest trying to figure out what's going to work best for you and continuing to learn and trying to get as much from that salon as you can. And then, 3 to 5 years in, you need to realize, okay, is this the salon that I want to be at, when I'm a 10, 15-year veteran doing hair, or is there someplace else I want to be? I think after 3 to 5 years is a good thinking point to where you want to be in your career. If you're not making the money that you think you should be making, you need to figure it out if it's you as a stylist or if it's because the salon owner isn't giving you enough opportunity to do what you need to do. And most of the time, you're going to find that it's probably you not utilizing what your salon's giving you or what, is out there for you to do yourself. You can take your own courses. You can follow, people on Instagram. You can do all kinds of videos. You need to learn what's going to be best for you and, how you're going to make money. As far as, do I think that at 3 to 5 years you should go into a suite? Not necessarily. I don't know necessarily after 3 to 5 years if you're going to be able to make the money that you make still in a salon. You'd have to, it's going to be hard. If you want to challenge, if you absolutely want to challenge yourself, if you also want to be your own boss, if you want that pressure, by all means. But do I think that after 3 to 5 years, if it's a wise choice to do? No. Stay at the salon that you're at, or find the salon that's going to help you succeed. Now, after 10 or 15 years, if you feel that you should go on your own, that's definitely a decision that you can probably make after that length of time. But 3 to 5 years, I still think it's too early in your career to go off on your own like that. I just do. I've been doing it for 8 and it still was way too early for me. I think that you should absolutely take the time at 3 to 5 years as a stylist and figure out if the salon that you're at is where you need to be, not necessarily if you should go out on your own.
Yeah, I love that.
I do too. That's great. Some great points there.
You guys have a very well-oiled machine going on, and congratulations, because you did it.
Thank you.
You did it, and you're doing it. You're continuing to do it, and you built an amazing business.
And kudos to your boss as well, because I've checked you guys out. Like, you guys have an awesome salon going on too.
Thanks. She's definitely poured her heart and soul into it. She loves it. So that's when you work for somebody good, when you know that they truly have a passion for the art. So yeah. I'm very happy.
Growing people for growing stylists. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on with us. One more time. What do you work at again?
Lux Hair Company. We're in Canton. If you need to know specifically where, we're off the Canton Center, so that kind of helps people.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. It was so good to see you again.
I know. It's good to see you guys too. Take care.
Yes.
Bye.